Shall we go? Shall we go? 27th of August, 2020. So we've driven about 30 miles south again because we are going to find another wild camp spot that's meant to be really amazing. And also the charge points in the southern Cairngorms were not really reliable, so we decided to just stay somewhere that we knew we could definitely charge the car. So this certainly wasn't our first night wild camping, but it definitely was the most beautiful. I'd heard so many wonderful things about hiking in the Scottish Highlands and wild camping in remote areas. And so as beginners, we really wanted to take our time and find the most beautiful but accessible spots. I had no prior experience of wild camping, and so I had a lot to learn before we even stepped in the car and made our way north. So we are hiking in now. It's taken us about an hour to find somewhere to camp, and then we're gonna have some coffee. You can never tell how hard something's going to be, even if you can read a map and you can see how steep it is. That first bit was really hard, but it's now leveled out a bit, so hopefully it'll be nice and chill for the rest of the way. But of course it didn't last long. With every step after that it kept getting steeper and steeper, but every time we turned around we could see the trail we left behind. Pine trees, rivers, rolling hills, and the sides of mountains that just seemed to go on forever. This is what the Scottish Highlands was about, and every step that we took was worth it. So I take my love and hide it away from those who steal till I find my way. How will I call? This is what happens when he goes ahead. And then he dances. Doesn't wait for me though. Nope. Hiking is such a personal thing. Look at that. Unbelievable. And if you just look back from where we came from. Wow. For me, some of the toughest hikes are always the most rewarding, because they take so much mental energy and focus, and you just have to see it as a challenge, and when you manage to actually do it, it feels so good. That's one of the reasons why I like hiking. Like, obviously I love being in nature, but it's also the challenge of it, because I'm pretty scared of heights, so any mountain I climb is a massive achievement for me, and I'm not that fit anymore, so trying to get back to fitness is it's a nice way of thinking about the hike as well. Trails like this are completely deceiving. Every time you round a bend or go over a hill, you think that where you're headed is going to be just around the corner. If this isn't the most spectacular view you've ever seen, I don't know what is. But it never is. We kept walking and kept looking back and photographing just the beautiful trails and the places we'd come from. For me, there's nothing more satisfying than reaching some kind of summit, even if it's just a tiny hill, and just looking back and seeing where you've come from. And then, before we knew it, we had reached the remote loch that we'd been looking for.
I've said it many times, I know I would change my ways, I know for sure.
Are you stoked we finally made it?
I'm in disbelief at this stunning natural beauty.
I thought we'd never get here, honestly.
Every rise, you're like, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? One press down.
After we set up our tent, we went for a little explore. We walked around, saw where the rest of the trail went, and dipped our toes in the loch. Afterwards, we set up for the evening, filtered some water, made dinner, and ended up taking refuge in our tent due to the enormous amount of bugs that suddenly appeared out of nowhere.
Starts falling, let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now always in your head.
We only made it in for approximately a minute, 2 minutes, maybe a few minutes, and we only went up to our ankles because my god, it was cold, but very refreshing, especially after 5 days hiking and camping. It's nice to splash our bits.
It was always on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless it seems. We found holes in these walls, we lied, we saw.
Wow, what a difference a night can make.
Stay awake every night just to catch one more glimpse of your skin. When I look at the way you sleep, I know I'm home. Times I believe I can change, be the man just for you. Like a flash of the future, I see our sons and daughters too.
As this was an out and back trail, after we packed up our campsite and left no trace, we headed back the way that we came. When you take a trail the opposite direction, everything always looks slightly different, and so to me, it felt like a whole new trail. On top of that, the clouds had rolled in and the mist had really sunk and covered so much of the mountain that we'd been so grateful to be able to see the night before. After we headed back to the car, completely soaked, we got into dry things and headed off to our next destination. I just want to say a massive thank you to my patrons who supported me and got to see a lot of this trip ahead and in real time. If you want to support my channel just a little bit more, or just get some extra content, photos, video content, and much more, then check out in the description below my Patreon. Once again, thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate you, and you really help me to create the work that I do.